Good evening, everyone. A lot of students were again asking me to put up important topics for tomorrow's CA Foundation Law exam. But before that, I'm very happy that many students have messaged me today that yesterday's important topics, which I had shared for accounts exam for CA Foundation, students were telling me 85 to 90% of those topics were actually in the exam question paper as questions. So I'm really happy, and I hope you all guys have done well in your accounts exam. So let us now try to assess the important topics in law. But law is slightly tricky. It's very difficult to estimate what kind of topics may come in the exam, which are the important ones. But still, it's a rough work which maybe you can use it, okay, because you have time for today and tomorrow morning up to exam. So these are the important topics according to me which you should be focusing on. Again, we really don't know if these questions may come in the exam tomorrow or not, but if you study this, at least it probably might be helpful. So let us begin. So the first topic you should be focusing in Contract Act is about social agreements, because it's been a while since they had asked about social agreements and validity of social agreements. If you remember, there was this Balfour versus Balfour case also, so focus on that. Second one is invitation to offer, the differences between the offer and invitation to offer, and also focus on conditional offer and conditional acceptance when you study these. Also, the third thing, which is very important according to me, is contracts or agreements which are expressly declared as void. Like these could be champity contracts, maintenance contracts. Also there are many like stifling prosecution or interference with court of justice. There are some which are against public interest. So focus specifically on contracts which have been expressly declared as void. One of them might surely become a question in the exam. Going ahead, focus on the concept of free consent. So free consent, when we look at focus on coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation, mistake, and fraud. Questions may come on any of these things. Again, whether silence amounts to fraud, focus on this discussion as well. Also, going forward, focus on breach of contract, because it's been a while since I've asked on performance of contract and breach of contract. Also focus on anticipatory breach of contract, specifically remedies for breach of contract, like your quantum merit, you have suit for specific performance, injunction, there are many, okay, rescission, all those things. So focus on the remedies for breach of contract. Also going ahead, it's been a while since they have asked questions on capacity to contract or contract with minors guardians. Focus on that discussion as well. Also focus on quasi contracts and contingent contracts and what's the difference between the two. Okay, so these are the topics which I feel from a contract act point of view are important. Now going ahead, let us go to Sale of Goods Act. Focus on caveat emptor and exceptions to caveat emptor. Straightforward question may be there. If not straightforward, on one of these exceptions to caveat emptor, there may be questions. Since last time they have gone into detailed differences between warranties and conditions, that kind of differentiation may not come this time. But focus on caveat emptor. Also do look at indemnities and warranties, because caveat emptor concepts are very much linked to indemnities and warranties. Also appropriation and ascertainment concepts, it's been a while since they have asked. So ascertained goods, unascertained goods, who appropriates, when appropriation happens, so those concepts focus on. Similarly, delivery of goods, transfer of property in the goods, and transfer of title and transfer of good title. Same concept is linked to nemo dat quod non habet. That is, you can only give what you have, you cannot give what you do not have. So there are exceptions, if you remember, where even though you do not have a good title to the goods, you can probably transfer good title to the goods. So nemo dat quod non habet and exceptions to that, okay, focus on these. Also look at unpaid seller, rights of unpaid seller, okay, right of stoppage in transit, etc., right of lien, all these. So these are important. Also a little bit, maybe you can focus on auction sale. Maybe it came last time, we are not sure if this will come this time, but it's a small concept. Do look into auction sale also. Next, let us go to Partnership Act. In Partnership Act, sometimes partnership firms are dissolved by courts. So look at dissolution by court provisions. Also, expulsion of partner, in what cases a partner can be expelled or thrown out of the firm, focus on those concepts. Also, what is minor's position in a partnership firm? Can he be a beneficiary? Can he become a partner? Also, if you remember, those 180-day rules are there. Minor becomes a major, he gets to choose. Focus on all those public notice of the minor and all that. Next is implied authority of partners. Normally, partners have implied authority, but there are exceptions to implied authority cases where partners do not have that authority unless specifically given to them. For example, buying land or opening up bank accounts in their personal name on behalf of the firm. There are many such provisions where partners do not get the implied authority. They need express authority to have certain kind of rights. So implied authority and exceptions to implied authority, focus on that. Also, importantly, non-registration of partnership firm and the consequences. So partnership firm registration is not compulsory. So if you don't register, there are certain disadvantages. So what are those disadvantages or consequences of non-registration? Focus on those. So that's about your Partnership Act. Now let's come to Companies Act. When you come to Companies Act, focus on Section 8 company, which is non-profit making company. It's been a while since a question has come on this. Also focus on holding subsidiary relationship and associate company relationships, how these relationships are formed. Last attempt they have asked about a government company, so this time they may not ask government company. So that's why I focus on holding subsidiary and associate company definitions. Also, last time they had asked you doctrine of indoor management, so this time focus on doctrine of ultra wires and doctrine of constructive notice. Also, what is corporate wheel and exceptions to corporate wheel? So in what circumstances corporate wheel can be lifted or pierced? Focus on these again in Companies Act. LLP is a very small chapter, you will get only 5 marks. So general overview specifically with regards to LLP registrations, what are the features of LLP, what is the nature of liability of partners, who are these designated partners, etc. So LLP is anyway a very small topic, it's just for 5 marks. So these are according to me the important topics in law for tomorrow's exam. If you have not yet prepared properly, first focus on these. If you've already done very thorough preparation, still revise these concepts thoroughly. Whether these will come in the exam, God only knows. But this is just a trend analysis. Probably these may come. Even if 20 marks comes from these topics, it's worth it, right? Correct. Accounts, students told me that almost 90 marks came from the last video which I made. So if not 90, at least 20 marks if it comes, it's worth it. So focus on these topics. Now this is up to your 60 marks. The other 40 marks is business communication and English. It's impossible to tell you what's important. Pretty much everything is important, and anyway business communication is a very generic paper, and I'm sure you will manage well in that. So all the best, guys. I hope you will do very well in tomorrow's law paper. So signing off, this is CA Vijay Krishna Dharani. Bye bye.